Ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying that the moment a child is born, a mother is born too. But perhaps that is also the moment a woman becomes a student once more. A student with the most profound motivation, because her final exam is the very safety and happiness of the precious life in her hands. Have you ever wondered what a world-famous tennis player must learn when she steps off the court and up to the cradle? What field a silver screen star must study when she worries about her child's delicate skin? Or what lesson a first lady had to cultivate right there at the White House for the future of an entire generation? Today, I invite you to take a quiet moment with me to hear 3 extraordinary journeys of learning, all sparked by a boundless love. These are the stories that will remind us that motherhood is the greatest source of strength, transforming women into the most brilliant students in the world. Our first journey takes us to a fiery arena, to a warrior before whom the entire world bows. Story 1: Serena Williams learning to survive. Serena Williams, the name alone conjures the image of a goddess of strength with thunderous serves of an iron will that has conquered 23 Grand Slam titles. She is the very definition of invincible. But in 2017, the biggest match of her life wasn't played on the grass courts of Wimbledon, but in a quiet delivery room. When her baby daughter, Alexis Olympia, was born, immense joy was quickly overshadowed by a deadly shadow. A pulmonary embolism nearly claimed the champion's life. In the long and painful days that followed, lying in a hospital bed, Serena couldn't hold a racket, couldn't push herself in the gym. She could only do one thing: learn. But this wasn't about learning a new technique. It was about learning to listen to her own body, a body that had just walked the line between life and death. The body of a new mother. She devoured every book she could find on postpartum nutrition, on recovery after surgery. More importantly, she learned how to care for a fragile soul while she herself was utterly exhausted. She learned to distinguish her baby's every cry, learned how to provide the sweetest milk, learned to balance the instincts of a warrior with the tenderness of a mother. And the most invaluable lesson was one of medical survival. When she felt the abnormal symptoms that a nurse might have dismissed, it was the knowledge she had proactively sought, the decisiveness of a mother determined to live to protect her child, that saved her own life. 10 months later, when Serena Williams walked onto the court for the Wimbledon final, the world didn't just see the return of a legend. They witnessed the power of a mother, a woman who had just graduated from the greatest, most life-threatening lesson of her life. If Serena had to learn to fight for her own life and her daughter's, our next woman learned to proactively build a fortress of safety, shielding her child from the most invisible dangers. Story 2: Jessica Alba, learning chemistry for delicate skin. We adore Jessica Alba, the luminous star of Hollywood, for her captivating roles. But her most inspiring story didn't begin under the studio lights, but with a very ordinary, everyday task. In 2008, while eagerly awaiting her first daughter, Jessica, like so many other mothers, washed the tiny, adorable baby clothes. She used a baby detergent that everyone believed was safe. But then her own skin broke out in a rash. A sliver of worry, sharp as a knife, pierced the heart of the mother-to-be. If this can cause a reaction on my skin, what could it do to my baby's, which is as delicate as a flower petal? That moment transformed a movie star into a passionate researcher. Jessica dove into a world she had never known, the world of complex chemical formulas. Night after night, instead of film scripts, she read toxicology reports, learning about unfamiliar names like phthalates, parabens. She discovered a frightening truth. The market was filled with promises of safe and natural, but concealed countless potential harms. She wasn't studying for a degree. She was learning to become a truly informed mother, one who could build the purest environment for her angel with her own hands. And when her knowledge was sufficient, her love turned into action. Unable to find any products she felt were safe enough, she decided to create them herself. The Honest Company was born from that moment, a billion-dollar empire built on the singular foundation of a mother's desire to protect her beloved child. From protecting one child, how far can a mother's love spread? Can it embrace an entire generation? Our third story will give us the answer. Story 3: Michelle Obama, learning to garden for the future of a generation. Michelle Obama, the first lady whose intelligence and grace captured the hearts of America and the world. But deep inside that powerful woman was still a mother with the same simple worries for her two daughters, Malia and Sasha. Amidst the demanding national schedules at the White House, she noticed that the family's meals sometimes became rushed and unbalanced. And she looked beyond her own kitchen, seeing the problem an entire generation of American children was facing, the obesity epidemic. And she decided she had to learn. This time, her classroom wasn't a prestigious lecture hall at Harvard, but the very soil in her backyard. Inspired by history, she decided to do something unprecedented: plant a vegetable garden on the south lawn of the White House. To do that, the First Lady had to learn everything. She learned about soil, about organic planting methods, about how to harvest each type of vegetable. She rolled up her sleeves, and alongside elementary school students, she tilled the soil and planted the first seeds. That garden didn't just provide fresh vegetables. It became a living symbol. From the lesson of planting, she sowed a nationwide movement called Let's Move. She learned how to lobby food corporations, how to use the media to spread the message of healthy nutrition into every home. It all started with a carrot, with a mother's concern. But love gave that lesson wings, allowing it to fly far and wide, embracing and wishing for the very best for all the children across the nation. Serena, Jessica, Michelle. 3 women, 3 journeys, but they all show us a beautiful truth. Love transformed them into brilliant students. The calling of motherhood is not a destination, but a lifelong journey of learning that never ends. And as we hear these stories, perhaps an image of another woman comes to mind for each of us. A woman who may not be famous, who didn't build an empire or change a nation. That woman is our own mother. Weren't our mothers students just like them? She learned how to cook the dish you love the most. She learned how to stay up all night, recognizing your fever just from the sound of your breath. She learned how to swallow her own worries to send you off into the world with a smile. They may not have studied chemistry or gardened at the White House, but they learned the greatest lesson of all, the lesson of sacrifice and unconditional love. If you are still fortunate enough to have your mother with you, please don't hesitate to give her a call, to give her the tightest hug. And I also invite you to use the comment section below as a book of memories. Please share a memory, a lesson your mother taught you, or simply a word of thanks to the great woman of your life. Because every story shared is another chance for us to honor these phenomenal mothers. Thank you so much for your time and attention.